All right, Paul Hefty here with the Triangle O football system. We're going to look at phase 1 install step 2 now. After split zone, we're going to look at our stretch zone, which is our outside zone. We'll look at our stretch zone with our Mickey RPO routes. We'll look at how to do that with a stretch fly zone. We can look at a now stretch screen, our bubbles, our now bubbles, and then a sprint pass, sprint snag, and a smoke screen, what we call our fast screen pass option. All right, once again, we'll use our 3x3 install, doing the RPO first, then the pass, and then mixing the two together. So you can see here now with stretch zone, we're going to do that to the back, regular RPO with a Mickey route concept. We can add that where we put the A receiver in fly stretch, and then we use that same stretch or outside zone blocking for our sprint out pass pro and our now passes. And we'll do a bubble, a snag, and a smoke concept. All right, so our first basic stretch RPO, again, we don't say anything, we're always running towards, the front side is towards the H. So we're going to outside zone this all to the left. The theme here is NCA, so we use Lobos to the left. The read key on all of our outside run becomes actually the Mike backer run through to the play side. So we'll use what's called a Mickey route on the back side. The A runs a hot over route trying to replace that Mike or Will blitzer, and then the Z runs his glance route again, getting skinny to the second and third level. Quarterback is simply going to shuffle 1 to 2 steps for a ride phase, reading that Mike backer. If he fills, then he'll look to drill the ball to the A or the Z, looking inside out. Key here is the A just tries to find open grass or open windows. If the Mike skates, sits, or does a blitz backside, we're going to go ahead and still take our shuffle steps, but it's a give all the way to the back. You notice here the front side receivers have to block, bongo block, we're blocking the man on and over, with the backside now runs the RPO route. So this would be Lobos 5 because number 5 is the Mike. That's our read key. If you pause the video here, you can see Kansas City going to run the same outside zone Mickey. You can look at it on the PowerPoint. Our stretch zone blocking and calls now, we just go from inside zone or split zone to Izzy to outside zone is Ozzy, again, left or right. Again, what's key here is we want to go ahead and reach for the far, we call it a far reach to the play side gap, and it's a zone principle we're running. Stretch zone then steps. Running back is going to take his 3 steps, but like he did with split zone to the quarterback, but on the 3rd step, the toe is going to continue to point to the sideline. And then we've got our read mesh with step 4. Before he gets to 5, the quarterback should have either given or pulled this with, that's the ride phase. Then that back wants to take 2 more steps, and on the 7th step, he's reading that H-back's block. If he's got his defender hooked, then he's going to go ahead and run right off his outside shoulder. If that defensive end to outside linebacker, Sam backer, is skating and pushing to the sideline so that the H is turned now towards the sideline, that back is going to cut it up and go inside of him. So we get north and south. If we want to get this to the A receiver, we simply just add a fly signal to it, and which is the hand flapping. And then we would do our same Lobos. Again, what it does is the back aligns towards the call and now is a lead blocker on number 1. What we'll do different with a fly is the X receiver blocking here. Instead of going up bongo on number 1, the corner, he's going to go ahead and push for 2 steps and then crack inside Sam to the ox safety filling. This is great. Same read, same mechanics by the quarterback with the shuffle, just a different player. Obviously, we lose the A in the Mickey route, but we've got the glance all the way. So he still reads the Mike and then looks for open windows. If the Mike fills hard, we've got the glance up the backside. What we like about this now, this is that overlapping or scaffolding of techniques. We can use our same outside zone blocking technique in schemes and calls for our sprint out pass game and our now bubble screens. Again, all we do different here, instead of saying Aussie left to right, we're going to go Aussie Pro left to right, and that tells the lineman we're going to do our same far reach technique to the call side, but we're going to stay on the line of scrimmage. The back to the call side now becomes that extra blocker, and he basically replaces the H and goes outside hip of that tackle, trying to double team with the end, and then looking for Sam blitz off the edge. So here's our now stretch. This is just classic bubble. If we call Ram to the right, or Lion would be to the left, Ram is going to tell the offensive line they're going to go ahead and Aussie Pro to the right. So they'll just call that Aussie Pro Roger. And what happens with our bubbles, we're going to do this mirrored to both sides, and the bubble receiver always becomes the ones closest to the quarterback. So in this case, we're in a 2x2. The A and the H become the bubble receivers, which is just a simple back pedal. And the Z and the X are going to go ahead and block Bongo Man over. Quarterback's just looking for which side he has free access. In this case, it's to the Sam because the A has outside leverage. And we're just going to get him the ball now, turn and go like a baseball player, turn in a double play. If we want to go to our sprint game, we're still going to use that same Aussie Pro protection, but now this is a great, what we call a sprint snag route concept. The Z is going to run a 3-step V corner, where he's going to run like he's running hot over inside, and then on that 3rd step, plant hard and get behind the corner. The A is going to do what we call a shadow route, where he's going to go inside and shadow the outside hip of the defender over the H. And then he's going to do a reverse basketball pivot back to the line of scrimmage with his hands up in the air, and then just shuffle and slide laterally with the to the sideline after the pivot. The H here runs a hot arrow. He's going to just go get outside as fast as he can and get depth to 5 yards, straight as an arrow to the sideline. The back then does his protection, getting to the edge, looking for the Sam blitz. Quarterback's technique is very simple. He just turns and opens up, in this case to the right, with his right foot back, quarter turn, and then takes off with baby steps, controlled sprint out to the edge. We're really just trying to move the launch point and not necessarily roll and get depth and get to the edge. He's going to read this. He's going to check the cat first all the way. If he gets the Z corner one-on-one beat, it's the cat, he'll just throw that. If not, then we're going to go ahead and look at the Sam backer. We're looking for the hot arrow right away if the cat drops at all. Again, if the Sam fights through that and runs over it, then right behind it is the A and the shadow shuffling in there. If the play gets prolonged, then we just turn this into a 2-on-1 with the arrow in the corner route. Lastly, then he's got the X always has a safety valve running, an over route just finding open grass. Key point here is if everybody drops, the quarterback then after his controlled sprint out just goes ahead and takes off essentially as the 5th receiver running this into a sweep. Sprint snag to the right would be Spikes Ray. If we want to run this out of a 2x2 and or get the ball with the B back as the potential arrow route receiver, we simply call this Spikes Robo to the right or Lolo to the left. That's our solo calls, meaning now the O-line is still going to Aussie right here, Aussie Pro right, but they don't have a back or an H back to help on the edge. That right sack tackle knows he's solo with the Robo call. The routes and the reads for the quarterback are all the same. The H, now that he's on the backside, just joins the X with the hot over routes, trying to find open grass and trying to get back in the quarterback's vision. Again, we're going to read the cat, trying to get that V corner. If we don't like it, then we're going to look for the B on the hot arrow right away. If the Sam covers that, running through the shadow, then we should be able to hit the arrow or the A right behind him in the shadow route to a run option by the quarterback. This is Spikes Robo sprint snag to the right. Last, then, we want to start to introduce our screen pass, which is great. Blitz beaters, we use one blocking scheme for all our screens, and the keyword is south. Once we do that, the tackles are always going to be big on big, and the guard center guards are the pullers. So you can see the diagram to the left and diagram running south to the right. This is what we call our fast screen, and this is my favorite screen to start with. It's a great blitz beater. Gives the quarterback an option. It's a screen pass option. So what we're going to do here is we're going to call this Southern Lion, because the screen concept is actually to the left. It's a smoke screen, but it becomes our second option. Where we're going to read the pass first is the bubble screen to the back side. So we'll just read that Sam backer there. If the B has leverage on him or he blitzes, we'll just throw that first, pivot throw, just like a bubble route, just to the back now. If the Sam covers that so that there's no leverage, then the quarterback's just going to turn back and throw his smoke screen to the X receiver. The X is going to take 2 long steps upfield and then come back to the line of scrimmage and creep back to the quarterback until he gets the ball. H is always going to go block number 1. Key that he takes flat path down the line of scrimmage, what we call a J path. So that after that corner, the dog is playing tight man on the X and is following him, he can just kick him out to the sideline. The tackles then both run their Aussie outside stretch blocking just to the outside both ways. So the right tackle is doing it to the right, assuming we're going to get the bubble to the right, and the left tackle is going to go ahead and far reach to the left, assuming we're running smoke screen there. You can see then the left guard becomes the number 1 puller. We're just going to hit real quick, real fast, and then take off and go ahead, and he's going to pull flat to block the number 2 defender, which is the GOAT in this case. The center is going to look to pull then to the first backer, which is the Will here, and the right guard is going to pull then to the Mike. Again, simple screen pass option, but it's a great way to introduce a great blitz beater in your system.